Good morning guys, how are we doing? So today I'm going to repeat what I did on Monday's live, and I'm going to show you my 3-2-1 shortbread recipe. Now this shortbread can be adapted for anyone who is gluten-free, vegan, lactose intolerant, has any kind of, dietary requirements along those lines, because it's that simple and that easily adapted. You also don't need weights and measures. You could use grandma's old teacup for all I care. The recipe still actually works. So, and it's budget friendly because you just use what you've got around the house anyway. So let's get into it. Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you, this is actually part of collaboration with Bake a Leg and Let's Dig It Homestead for her crazy cookie collaboration. Right, so to kick off, we're going to start off with our basic ingredients, and those are flour, butter and sugar, and that's all you need. And if that's all you've got, that's all you use. Okay, now the recipe goes like this, and it's very hard, so you need to listen and pay attention. 3 parts flour, 2 parts butter, 1 part sugar, and that's it. I kid you not. It doesn't matter if you use a cup or if you've got a set of scales, whatever. As long as you use the same cup, it still works. Okay, so I'm going to be using my scales, and I'm going to be, my base measurement is going to be 250 grams. So I'll be starting off with 750 grams, which is 3 times of flour. Come on. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. 750 grams of plain flour. Now, since here in the UK and in other countries in the world, our butter pats come in 250 gram packs. As you can see, they actually mark it in 50 gram bits, so that if you only need 50 grams, you only use 50 grams. But we're going to put the whole thing in. Now, this is baking butter because it's what we have. And we're going to use 2 pats of this. Right, in you go. Get in. I'm going to get some of that off because that's quite a lot on there actually. Get off. And the rest we're going to keep for greasing our tin. So, right. Number 2. Boof. Right, and I'm keeping that one again for greasing the cookie sheets and stuff. Right. So all we have to do now is 250 grams of sugar. There we go. Simple. Done. Now, you do not have to have a mixer for this. It is very easy to mix by hand. So that's what I'm going to do, because I can't be bothered with the cleanup. Not going to lie. So less I have to clean up, the happier this pixie is going to be. Oof. Right, so all you have to do, straight in and get it going. That's it. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Trust me. It's actually quite fun. It's a bit of a sensory thing, but it's quite fun. All right. Also, if you do it by hand, you can tell exactly where your mix is at. Okay. And I wouldn't use both hands, just use one, because otherwise they're going to be a big old mess and you won't be able to turn the tap on. Right. There we go. Done. Let's get a knife, scrape some of that off. Back of the knife, kids. Use the back of the knife. All right. Get as much of that off as possible. And then we're going to put it all together. Or just squish it. All right. Now that's that. Now it's up to you if you want to put that in the fridge for a bit to cool off and harden. But I haven't got time for that. It doesn't make a huge lot of difference unless you're making it into barrels so that you can have cut off cookies. I'm not doing that. I'm doing rolled cookies, so it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Right. Okay. So, be back in a minute. I want to wash my hand. Okay. So what we're going to start with is we're going to do our honey spice cookies first. All right. So I'm going to get a good clunk of this out. Ooh. Okay, and for this one it's all really fine that this has actually got a bit of extra flour happening because we're adding a little bit of a wet ingredient in the honey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bit of a well here so that I can get my honey out. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to crystallize. That's all right, it's all good. Yeah, get that in there. And a little bit more. Yeah, good 2 spoons of it in there. That'll do. Right. Those in the sink. Put that away. Now we're also going to add some mixed spice. Now this is my homemade mixed spice. If you want to know how to make that, I'll put a link up here somewhere, either here or here, and I'll also put a link below in the description box so that you can find the recipe for this. All right, and I'm going to put, that should probably be enough actually, in there. I need to make some more. Oh my god, it's a bit popular in this house, I have to admit. Okay, so, and all we got to do is mix all that in. Mix it through, fold it over, get it in. Oh, do-do-do, doodly-doo. Like if you're adding flavours to pasta, for example. You just want to make sure that you get it all mixed through properly, but you don't want to mix it up so much that you activate the gluten, because you don't want these spreading too much. You just want them to be just right. Okay, so I'd say that's probably enough. Now if you wanted to, you could roll that into a sausage, wrap it up in plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge. But I don't want to do that because, you know, I've got things to do today. So I'm just gonna rinse off my mucky hands. Okay, so we've got our tray, our cookie sheet, baking tray, whatever you want to call it. We're just gonna get our butter paper and we're gonna grease it with what's left over, because that will be plenty. There we go. Right, there we have it. And what we're going to do next is we're just going to take off probably walnut sized pieces of this, roll it in a ball and bang it on the tray. Ta-da! Right. Now I'm giving them a good couple of inches just in case they do spread a bit, which is fine. We don't mind if they do a bit. Give it a smack bottom. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, it's just me and Tanny. So, you know, and we're going to put one in the middle there. So we don't need loads and loads and loads. Just a few for us, really, at the end of the day. We go. That one can go in the middle of there. We'll actually end up with enough. I can do a few more, but we'll just see how we go. Right. What's that? Okay. And maybe two more, probably two more. One and two. Now, that we'll put on a tray with whatever other leftover cookies we have. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to put what's left of that in this little ramekin that I have here, and we'll deal with that once we've got all the other ones made. So that can go over there. Whoosh. Now, next thing we want is a fork. Simple. And we're just going to give these a bit of a press. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Oops. There we go. Now these are going to go in an oven. Gas mark for it's 180 degrees C or 360 degrees F. Okay, and they're going to take about 15 minutes. Not long. Okay, so our next lot, we're going to do mince pie cookies. Right, so Tanny and I find it really difficult to find mince pies we actually really enjoy. We prefer to make our own, and we tend to make them in puff pastry scrolls. But I've got a lot of, because I make my own mince meat, like fruit mints. But what I've got this year is a load of the boozy fruit left over from making the Christmas cake. So I'm going to use some of that. And just like with the honey spice cookies, I'm going to dump a whole heap of the fruit in here. Right. This one, it also has nuts and a bit of other fruit that I've put in there. So we're going to dump it all in there. Get a really nice good lot in there. Because Tanny took a couple of these to work and he goes, I can't take those to work anymore. These smells like whiskey. I went, oh, funny that. Funny you should say, my love. So if you want to know how to make this boozy fruit, I will click a link up the top again to the video in which I made it. Also to my homemade mince recipe. Okay, I will also put that up here and down below in the description. So next, all we have to do is this. Now, if you are worried about the alcohol content of these, just be aware that the alcohol does cook out during the cooking process. So, which I did explain to him, but he said, yeah, but if my boss smells that. And I went, yeah, I suppose you could always give him one. He goes, I'm not sharing. So it's like, okay. So yeah, we're just going to mix them in well. Make sure that every bit has a good bit. Because you don't want, the worst thing you can possibly have is one of these with no fruit in it. Because it's just not right, is it? I mean, let's be fair. Okay. So again, if you wanted to, you could wrap that up in cling, put it in the fridge and slice off if you wanted to make little baton shaped ones. But I don't want to do that because again, that takes ages. So like the other tray, we're just going to use our buttered paper and grease this. There we go. Simple. Done. I think that one's done actually now. And we're going to get a few little bits out. Again, walnut sized. You don't want it any bigger than walnut sized because it just gets a bit much. Okay. So about that size. Well, that's more like golf ball, isn't it? Oh wow, it's Christmas, isn't it? There we go. Right. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Move these up a bit. I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine. 7. 8. 9. 10. 10 and 11. Probably be 12 if I'd actually got them all walnut size, but it's all good. Right, no big. There we go. And again, we're going to get our fork and just give them a little press on top. Do 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 do. And they will go in the same oven as the others for the same amount of time, 10-15 minutes. And it's been 15 minutes and ta-da! We've got our very first batch of our honey and spice cookies. Now, we need to leave them to rest on the tray for a few minutes just to harden up, so that they don't fall apart when you put them on a rack. And oof, we have rack. So yeah, see, they won't, they're not twistable at the moment because they're very, very soft. So don't do it, leave them cool off a bit. Okay, so now we're going to start on our crazy cookie. Now I have a few leftover cashew nuts. Now this particular recipe comes from Tanny and I being gamers, and we enjoy a specific survival crafting game called Ark Survivor Evolved, and in their Christmas event that they hold every year, they have a character called Raptor Claus that drops presents over the area you're in, and you have to go and collect them and hope you don't get eaten by dinosaurs. And yeah, so you can get really cool stuff in them. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to do like a stuffed cookie, and I'm going to put some of these cashew nuts in the actual shortbread itself, along with some of these sprinkles here, or I could use some of those, some of the little greeny bits. I don't know. Well, I just have to see what I can come up with. But we're only going to do a few of these because, you know. But what I'm going to stuff them with is a block of chocolate and a little bit of marshmallow. So you get that kind of s'mores almost in the middle. So you've got nutty outside, nutty shortbread outside with chocolate and marshmallow on the inside. These are not cookies to eat fresh out the oven because it's like lava. So I'll just finish cutting up these and I'll come back to you. Right, okay, so I've done as much as I can with those. And right now, I'm just going to get the bowl with what's left of our shortbread, and we're going to chuck those in there. And then, oops, pardon, we're going to chuck in some of our dinosaur sprinkles. Yeah, I just chucked in the lot, because why not? Right, I'm going to get all this mixed in. Okay, there's our Raptor Claus shortbread. Now we need to get our marshmallows done. We only actually really need maybe 2. I don't think we need more than that. Just 2. And I'm going to get a knife, lily kniff. I'm going to chop it, each one. In 4. So I don't think we're going to make loads of these actually out of what we've got, but it's enough just to have something a little bit fun and a bit bonkers. Right. So those are done. Then we've got our chocolate, just basic generic chocolate. Use whatever chocolate you want. And I'm just gonna chop those in those. See how we go. Now, where's our butter paper? Here's our butter paper. That's the wrong one. We're gonna get this one, and we're gonna do this in here. There we go. Simple. Right. Now we need to get our shortbread. Fine. Just sit on the cook. Just sit there and behave, okay? Just seriously. When cookies don't behave. Right. I'm going to get that squished in here. Let's get that off there, the extra bits. Make a little doodah, bit of a nest. Now, I'm just gonna move these bits. Oof. You guys know I've got like less than 2 foot of space here to work in, yeah? Right. Okay. Okay, let's get our chocolate bits in there. There and there. There and there. There and there. There and there. And there and there. Get our marshmallows there. Put them sticky side down. It's probably the best idea. to get a good handful of the cookie dough and whap it over the top. Try and seal all that in as best we can. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't, because everything will melt and cook anyway. So just be aware of that. It's not a huge big deal, and they're supposed to be crazy. They're not supposed to be perfect. I mean, the whole thing's going to collapse inside itself anyway for when the marshmallow melts. And it will. Trust me. Done this before. Excuse me. Alright, I'll be back when I'm done. There we go. They're done. Now, I know they look like they've been made by Mrs. Raptor Claus, but you know what? I'm not that worried about it, because like I said, when the marshmallows actually start melting, they will hold on to those bits of cookie. So, we're all good with that. Putting them in the oven for the same amount of time as the others, and we'll pull them out when they're ready. And just as we put them in, these ones ready to come out. Now, the same as with the honey spice ones, you want to keep them in the tray first for a little while because they are still quite soft. They have got a little bit of golden brown on them. You don't want any more than that, otherwise they turn into nothing very nice. So, we're done. Okay, I'll be back when the others are cooked. Okay, so there you go, they're done. And as I said to you, they have caved in and where the marshmallow was when it melted, and that's really cool. But as you can see, it's really quite soft. So we're going to leave those to actually cool off completely in the tin. Now, these ones are all done and they're fabulous. And I'm not allowed to touch them till Tanny gets home, which is just as well, because that's fine, because I have some left over from the first batch. Ta-da! See, there's not much in there, is there? Not many left. But to be fair, I actually gave a whole heap of these away to friends of mine, friends of ours, who were going to Florida today. I gave them to them 2 days ago because they took Tanny's computer away and formatted the whole thing so that it could be repaired, so that we at least have one fully working computer over the holidays while they're away. Now, I do have one other cookie that I made in the first batch of these that I didn't make this time, and that's these ones. They're the little thumbprint ones. This is the last one, and I'm nicking it to have with my coffee. These are the original ones of the Raptor cookies, so they do come out pretty good, which is really kind of cool. I actually used the green sugar for these ones. I prefer them the way they are now because they actually look like a dinosaur sat on them. All right, so I'm going to have one of them, and one of them. I'm going to go and have my coffee now. So, guys, This recipe is really, really simple. I'm going to put the amounts down below for the basic recipe. If you're adding anything else to it, do what you want. I'm going to also put the alternative ingredients, so if you need gluten-free ones or vegan ones or whatever, all of that will be down below in the description. Whatever you're doing for Christmas or whatever you're celebrating, whether it be Yule, the solstice, or one of the 90 other celebrations that goes on between the 30th of November and the 15th of January, please enjoy it. Be safe, stay warm or stay cool, depending where in the world you are, and just have some fun. Do something a bit bonkers. I know it's a bit hard this year, like it was last year, and it kind of feels like it's dragging this year. I get it, but you know what? Cookies make the difference, and if that doesn't work, just think about bubbles. Because I dare you to think about bubbles and not smile. Okay, I love you guys heaps. Have an awesome, awesome one. Blessings.